Alright, here we are at the second video for page 2. We'll see how far we get. Maybe we can do all the rest in this next video here. So this is 2.6, page 2b. So the steps are the same as solving equations, but now we just carry a inequality sign symbol all the way through and watching for any time we multiply or divide by a negative. That's the exception that we're watching for, and that's the little red flag that pops up here. If we multiply or divide both sides by negative, we flip that inequality. So let's jump into one. What if the fractions show up? And they will, because this is, you're going to get good at fractions, positive and negatives. That's one of the goals. Math 60, you get solid in this and confident. And get the extra help that you need. It's never too late to get things. Don't use the word can't or I'll never or I'm not good at any of these topics. You can do this. You just have to get yourself in the right frame of mind, believe in yourself, get the help that you need, and then get the practice time in, and it will pay off eventually. Your brain will warm up to it, will get used to it, it will become part of who you are. Okay, so all that to say, we can go ahead and eliminate fractions. Okay, and I said you can only do that when there's an equal sign. Well, you can also do it with an inequality sign. So you can eliminate fractions with an inequality sign too. Okay, so you multiply both sides by the LCD. So the LCD in this case is 12, so we're going to multiply everything by 12. And we had the 1/3, I'm sorry, we had the y plus the 1/3, so there's our plus there. Here's our less than or equal to, and here's our 3/4, and then everything gets multiplied by 12. So in blue here you see the original equation, y plus 1/3 is less than or equal to 3/4, multiplying everything by 12 to eliminate the fractions. So 12 times y is just 12y. 12 times 1/3 is going to be 4. Less than or equal to, we have not multiplied or divided both sides by negative. We multiplied by a positive 12. So there's no flipping. It stays less than or equal to. 12 times 3/4, the 4 goes into 12 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. I'm kind of quickly talking through the fractions here. If you need to see those slowly, and you want some extra help with those, bring that up in class, bring them to club hours, which is, office hours. Just get the extra help you need. But I'm going to focus here on the inequalities, not necessarily the fraction work. Okay? So now we just double check, are there parentheses on either side? No. Are there like terms on either side of the inequality that need to be combined? No. Has the variable y picked a side? Yep, it's all the way over here on the left. And in this case, it's not negative out in front of the variable. That's the tip-off that you're probably going to have to flip things around, okay? Because to get rid of a negative attached directly to, that attachment is a multiplication. To undo that, you would use division, which would mean dividing both sides by a negative. So I think we're good to go here. Let's ask ourselves, what's happening to y? And there's two things. First, it's getting multiplied by 12. The next thing that's happening is you're adding 4. Or if you want to do that in more of a timeline version, as you look left to right here, you'd have y, you would multiply it by 12, and then you'd add 4. Then to find out how to undo or how to solve, get y all by itself, is you do the reverse order of those steps, step 1, step 2, or go in the reverse direction along that timeline and do opposite operations. You'd subtract 4. You divide by 12. In this case, we see a plus 4, we'll do a minus 4. We see a times 12, we'll do a divide by 12. And then this tells you what to do. You just have to remember to do it to both sides of the equation. So we'll go ahead and follow our steps here. The first step says to subtract 4 from both sides. And we're just subtracting 4. There's no need to flip here. Okay? Because we're only subtraction. Or we're adding a negative. Either one. Just because it's a negative doesn't mean you flip it. It has to be multiplied or divided both sides by negative. That's when you flip it. 9 minus 4 is 5. The less than or equal to gets brought down. The 4 minus 4 cancels. That was the whole point we were undoing. Now we divide both sides by 12. And we get y is less than or equal to 5/12 because we followed our two steps here. subtract 4, and then divide by 12. Subtract 4, divide by 12. Y is less than or equal to 5/12. Let's put that on a number line. Here's 0, here's 1. 5/12 would be kind of almost halfway to 1 there. We want to be less than or equal to 5/12. 0 is a great reference point. We're here at 5/12. We know it includes 5/12. Okay, the question is which way? Well, y is less than, so try 0. Try the reference point. Is 0 less than 5/12? Yes, it is. So 0 makes this true. So we get to include the side that includes 0. So the bracket faces that way. If we were to write that in interval notation, it would be parentheses, always parentheses with the infinities, from negative infinity all the way to positive 5/12, and we get to include 5/12, so we visually represent that with the closed bracket. Okay, brackets mean closed or including, parentheses mean open or does not include. Okay, chance for you to try a couple, and I would encourage you, as you have to move these x's, maybe force yourself to deal with the negatives and try the flipping. So again, there was no flip here on this last one we did. There was no flip. Yes, we were dividing, but not by a negative. Okay? We were subtracting or adding a negative, but subtraction and addition, it does not matter. It does not affect it. It just slides it along the number line. If you're here on the number line and you add or subtract something, you just slide one or the other. The alligator will still be aimed at his little meal here, okay? But as soon as you multiply or divide by a negative, you flipped the sign. That alligator will then turn and face still what it wants to eat, okay? All right, so you try, hit the pause button here. We've got 2 to try. Try both if you're feeling up to it. Maybe one of them, keep yourself from having to deal with a negative. The other one kind of force the issue. Make yourself deal with a negative. The way you do that is by ending up with a negative value in front of the variable. Okay, hit pause. We'll come back with the inequality answer, the number line version of the answer, and the interval notation version of the answer. Okay, when you solve these inequalities, on this first one, number 28, you get x is less than or equal to -7. On the right one here, you would get y is greater than 3. In terms of a number line, for this first one, you would have 0 and -7 as a reference, positive infinity, negative infinity, and you would shade to include -7, you'd use the bracket. We're going less than, so left, down the line here, all the way to negative infinity. And then your interval notation would be just that, from negative infinity to -7. We'll use the bracket to show we're including -7, but we always use a parentheses with infinity. And then back to this one over here, the number line for y is greater than 3. Here's your 0, here's 3 as a reference, positive infinity, negative infinity. We want greater than 3, so we're going to not include 3, but we will go ahead and go everything to the right of 3. If we tried 0, 0 greater than 3, not a true statement. So 0 and everything on that side of the value here, everything on that side of 3 is not included in the solution. It's not shaded. So we're going to go to the right, so we'll use that parentheses to show which direction, kind of how it captures it, traps those values. Okay, and then in interval notation, we'd be saying, hey, all these values from 3, to positive infinity, we always use parentheses with infinity, and in this case, the inequality sign of greater than does not include 3, so we'll use parentheses on that side of the interval notation as well. Okay, so once again, what we're looking at here is called interval notation. All right, we'll hit the try ones again in class. Make sure you're copying what you need to, talking it through with somebody, trying those examples. Let me look at the time here, how long this one lasted. This one was 10 minutes. Let's go ahead and try one more video to hit the last 2 examples. So we'll see you on the 3rd video at the bottom of the page.